decision making, stupid.
Mind y'all, fellas. This woman gets online, talks all that shit about herself and other women and sometimes other men, and she used to look like this. Like, remember how in this video when she said that back in her 20s, right, all the men were players and there were no good men to pick from? They wasn't picking you anyway, sis, in your 20s, because in your 20s, you was big as a fucking house. You know, she talks about that nowadays men are ugly, or they got kids, or they don't got themselves together. You're saying all this shit now because you allegedly have all your shit together. But I know how you used to look. You see what I'm saying? And mind you, this is coming from the same woman that talks about how she's single by choice, she's celibate, AKA I got ran through in my 20s, and now that I'm online, I want to be an online figure, I'm going to get up here and say I'm not dealing with men. Even though I seen you falling over B. Nard, whatever that nigga's name is, and Anthony Joshua. Those are the same type of men that right now, if they hop in your DMs, you're going, right? But you'll get online talking about how, nah, you ain't dating, you ain't dealing with men. So why do you get on here lying all the time to kick it? Why you gotta lie to kick it?
Me being single at my age didn't come from bad decision making, stupid. It came from me never finding the man that I wanted to be with. I don't know in what delusional world y'all men live in where you think that it was all of these wonderful, great men running around when we was in our 20s and we just passed up on all of these great guys. The attractive men when we were in our 20s were doing what attractive men do, which is be players, talk to a whole bunch of different women, and never want to settle down. You do understand that, right? So given that the attractive men in their 20s didn't want to settle down, that left us with ugly dudes, dudes with kids, and dudes who didn't have themselves together. It's the same thing now that I'm older. The options didn't go from good to bad. It went from bad to worse, right? Now, instead of dudes just having kids, they got kids and grandchildren. And if you think some of them was unattractive back then, add on now the fact that some of them is out of shape, they ain't got no hairline, and they missing side teeth. They wasn't financially stable in their 20s, and a lot of them still ain't financially stable. Some of them still paying child support from the same babies that they was having when they was in their 20s. Y'all got to start being for real. These podcast lies that all of these men was going to get older and they was just going to become these rich men, that didn't happen for most of them. Sorry. A lot of the men in their 20s who was doing all that settling down and getting married were undesirable men. Men on the verge of losing their hairlines. Men who didn't have no bunch of options of women to choose from in the first place. That's the reason why it was so easy for them to settle down. And just like anything else, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. And I'm sure some women got lucky and they were able to find desirable men to settle down with in their 20s. But the exceptions don't make the rule. And I'd argue how many of those women and men are still married to this day. How many of those marriages actually lasted? Shout out to the ones that did. I know how y'all like to rewrite history and pretend as if it was all of these wonderful, great men for us to choose from in our 20s, and we just wanted to be outside and we wanted to party with our girls and we didn't want to settle down. That's not what was happening. The options weren't there back then. And you're still in the same position. The dudes who older, who are still desirable, they still don't want to settle down. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. It just gets worse. That's the part you're missing. So there's nothing that I can warn the younger girls about except letting them know that if you think it's bad now, it's gonna get worse.
That's where I go? For you?
You told me I'm cool. Like, I'm cool.
You cool, man. You cool people, man. I don't persuade women to, man, you know what? I have met so many women that be on that abstinent journey and all that. It be sounding good. So I'm not here to try. One thing I don't do is try to persuade women to go away from their belief. I don't do that. Like, I think bad. So you just gonna keep being on my live and shit, playing with me and just be on the fence.
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. I'm curious though. You just play on the fence. Like, you play on the fence. Like, you just like, I see you.
What fence am I playing on?
No. Don't backtrack now. You made one post. You went to the second post. You said, "Hey, look, handsome privilege." You basically said, like, "Hey, I like to see attractive men, and I see them, I dip in there, I poke at them a little bit, and I go about my business. You're gonna keep poking, then you're gonna get poked back.
Apparently, one of the dudes on the internet exposed that Dana Dane girl. I can't stand her because she a grifter, bro. I already knew what it was. Bro. She a grifter. And one thing you find out is a lot of women who used to be big, fat, unattractive, or just unattractive, and then, they feel it in their body. I mean, you don't necessarily got to do something with your size or nothing like that, but it's a lot of women who grew into their body, who went on a fitness journey, or they, so you have skinny girls like that where they wasn't really getting approached, and then as they got older, they started to mature, and the look started getting different. And I ain't joning on her or nothing like that. She's still a nice looking woman. But at the end of the day, you sitting here like she don't pick a side. She's a grifter. It ain't from a standpoint of trying to be neutral or just trying to call them how you see them. I mean, that's what you post. She just try to grift. She a grift enough for the women to steal more towards the women, for the women to fuck with her, and then she'll throw the guy bone. It's a whole little act or whatever like that, right? Hit the link in the description, join the Patreon. So dude exposed her, talking about she used to be real big in her 20s, like real big. You'll see in the video. And basically saying you didn't have those options. So what it was a response to, and I'll try to find the original video. She responded to the video where she was saying that the guys that, we didn't pick, the good guys, we didn't want them. And then that's the video. But then she responded and said, yeah, all the good guys that y'all claim was good, they were unattractive. We didn't want them. And the guys, and then we wanted the thugs and the pookies. And the guy was basically like, bitch, you used to look like this. You didn't have no options at all. And exposed her. You didn't have no options looking like this. Who wanted you? Who was picking you? And, for the most part, I remember she piled on the Scarface Mark guy because they found out that he had a child and he used to get on baby mothers, but he's living with the mother of his child. Well, you ain't married. Everybody don't believe in marriage. You know what's so funny? When somebody say they don't believe in God, you know what they say? Well, everybody not religious. Everybody not religious. Okay, then everybody don't believe in marriage. Marriage is religious. At the foundation of marriage, it's a religion thing. It's not a, they turned it into a capitalist thing in America, but it's a religious thing. So not everybody believe in marriage. It's become more of a social construct to be, if you could keep it real. But yeah, he exposed her. And, for the most part, this most of the women, the sprinkle chick was a big woman. And a lot of them don't. When them big women, the sidekick that be up there with Paul Pierce, she was a big woman. And, I ain't tripping on it, right? But a lot of them going to get that surgery and putting a sleeve on their fucking esophagus or their stomach. They not doing the work for the fitness journey. They not doing the work. They cut corners. Ozempic, they get that surgery. They're not doing the work. And you can tell the people that did the work. When you know physiques and bodies, you can tell the people that actually they not doing the work. Most women cut corners anyway. They not doing the work. But, you didn't have to pick of the litter. So you can't come out here, talk strong like you did and telling half truth. Well, we didn't want, okay. You didn't have the choice. And my whole point in that particular video was that, so all the guys that was on their shit, just wasn't good candidates. But you got to remember, these the women who don't want to build with men. That's one thing you got to remember. These women don't want to build with men. So when you kind of talking about, situations where, women, these men weren't attractive. No, most of the times, most of them, they didn't want to build. They didn't want to pay for dates. They didn't want to grow with the man when they was in their 20s. It wasn't the fact that the guy was attractive or not attractive. Apparently, a lot of these women want luxury early. They want to go on trips. They want to do this. So guess what? Where they going at? They going to the highest bidder. They dealing with older guys. They being side bitches. They being mistress. Let's call it what it is. They still messing with young guys and sleeping with them, but they going where the money at. They going with the older guys. They tricking off. They getting the sugar daddy. They doing those type of things. That's what most women are doing. Because they want social media and people wanted to guarantee them instant success. And women, like I just talked about with them doing Ozempic and doing the sleeve and doing the fast surgery, they want to cut corners. But when you cut corners, it always come back to bite you in your ass. Do it the right way. A lot of these women really get with the right dude who got the right morals and values and integrity, and they can see the potential in the guy. They'll be all right. That's what everybody else see. All these Beckys and shit, they see the potential. They get married and they see the potential. These Ling-Lings, they see the potential. They know where the guy going. It ain't where we at right now. Where we going? Yeah, you can ball out in your 20s, have a good 5, 9, 10-year stretch of your 20s. Ain't got nothing to show for it. Purses out of style. Trips was just memories. You talking about take me back. Like, you know what I'm saying? And the pussy didn't aged out. You didn't aged out. So now you older and now that you trying to shame men to being stepfathers, to shame men to being with you. Nah. No. And women know that I don't want no struggle love. And okay, cool. Bye. If you don't want to grow with nobody and stack with somebody, don't complain about marriage. Don't even talk about marriage. But you know what's so funny? They can't do nothing but talk about it because when they get in their 30s, nobody want to do shit with no bitch in their 30s. She done did everything. Been fucked every different type of way. Been in menage twice. Been to orgies. Been gangbang. Been hit on the yacht. Been hit at the Ritz-Carlton. It's nothing you can do no more but ask for marriage. But that is what it is.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you go onto my page now, literally every single video that I made about Dana got taken down. Her minions, well, they on one. I mean, them niggas is on one. The damage is done though, so it don't matter. The damage is done. I did what I came to do, and I did it very well. I'm on YouTube. My videos are still up. It's not on my page no more. They're on my other pages. So, like I said, the damage is done. I'm gonna go back to making regular content like I normally do. But my message is this. If you pull up to 9 to 5ers podcast to fuck with me, I'm gonna fuck with you back. If you mention me in a video, I am going to respond.